I chatted with Steve another video, and to kind of give you a back, I've got something to read, but I want to give you a little background about this. And this is about a person in NDE experience, and pretty intense, I understand, and the way it was described to me. But we all have that question: what do we really look like? What do we truly look like when we go in the next life form that we're in? And in this particular case, and I think I've heard other people kind of explain the same thing, but the way this person described it, we're like kind of a musical note. And we're at a frequency, and what it was, the person was explaining to me, music is huge. It's very important in the next life. And it's really a great part of our existence in the next life. Music really is. And that's how we, in a way, that's how we communicate. But there are things that the person was talking about is that you have a choir of thousands upon thousands and thousands of people, or thousands of souls. Each one of us, the best way I can explain it is you're like kind of a musical note. Each one of us have kind of a frequency. That's how we really are. We're kind of a frequency. And we obviously we have thought. We can think of these things, but we're actually the reality is that we're kind of like a musical note. And the harmony is, you have to understand, the way the person described to me, it's like nothing you ever heard before. Reality there, as somebody explained some time ago, it's kind of like hyper reality. It's just so real that it's more than real. I mean, it's pretty impressive the way the person was describing it to me. But we're kind of like a musical note. And this person can't sing. I mean, they were stunned when they started to harmonize and they started to sing because they didn't know they had a musical talent. But we all do. Basically, we all can sing. We have that kind of rhythm, that heavenly rhythm. And just really interesting. We're still, for me, I can't remember a thing before this lifetime. I can't remember anything. And but there was one other question too. I don't want to. Let me just tell you something else too before I read what I'm going to read here, just real quick. There was a question asked during the NDE experience, and one is love is really the kind of it is the glue in the heavenly kingdom. It's the glue that puts all of us in together. We're all part of one. We're all part of each other. It's pretty stunning the way the person described it. We're all part of each other. And love is the glue. But here's the question that was asked. And the question that was asked is, so what have you learned? What have you learned in this lifetime? And I thought about this for a minute, because the person kind of asked me, what have you learned? And it kind of took me off step there for a minute, but I had to really think for a minute because we're having this kind of discussion here. And for me, at this point in my life, because I work in a hospital and because I used to work with the homeless, there are things I've seen, and I continue to see every single day. I see stuff, and I kind of don't tell you everything, but the suffering can be unreal. And so what it is for me is to see all this stuff, on a daily basis when I'm here. The question I ask, it really is kind of a test of faith. Test of faith. And I ask myself sometimes, and I'm explaining to the person that we were talking, is there a better way to learn? Is there an alternative here? The suffering sometimes, and to bring up what's going on in Ukraine, just how terrible things are going there, just terrible. Is there a better way? And I don't, and I've talked about this before, and what this person was saying, it's hard to get a perspective when you're in it. And when we were young and stuff, we go through a lot of the stuff and we don't fully understand things. But as time goes on, you have a kind of a way to step back and take a look at the whole big picture. That's what this is really all about, is taking the pictures. The question was asked, so what have you learned? And for me, at this point in my life, it's about the test of faith. It is, I don't fully understand at times. I don't fully understand why people suffer so badly as I see them. I see some stuff, everybody. And everybody that works in this hospital, other hospitals around, I mean, you cannot believe what goes on here. And is there a better way to learn? I talked about the law of opposition. You have to know one to know the other. And sometimes, in this earth, in this realm, we're in the extremes. And so, but that's if they ask me, what have I learned? It's a test of faith. Basically, it really is about the test of faith with God. But let me go ahead and continue. And what really kind of interesting to me was the idea of musical notes, and that we harmonize. We have kind of like a huge choir. The heavenly kingdom is like a huge choir. Thousands of people are harmonizing together. Each one of us, in a sense, have our own musical note. We have our own kind of harmony, and we're harmonizing with everybody else. Hard to picture everybody, but that's basically what this person was telling me in the NDE experience. But let me go ahead and we put this together, and I don't know if we got it all accurate. It was a message from God. And let me go ahead and read it, and I'll do the best I can. Let me go ahead and read it. All at once, all that I allowed you to know, you knew no words were spoken, no words they were shouted, they were whispered to you into your spirit, to your being. I discreetly filled you with knowing, the knowing that flowed as effortlessly as taking a breath. Man thinks he acts alone, moves outside my knowledge. That is not so. I am in every fiber, I am in your core, I am in you, and I am in you. I am encoded in every cell, every nanosecond of time. I am in every cell in your body. They move within to the rhythm I created, to the symphony I composed. I conducted each and every one of you as the musical notes that are heard all throughout the heavenly kingdom. They fall in step as I will it. I will always be there for you now and all for eternity. We're getting a little glimpse, or at least I'm getting a little glimpses of God and how He thinks. And the thing you have to understand, can you imagine what goes on in God's mind? We were talking about this, and this person in the NDE experience. His mind is like nothing. Like nothing, like nothing. It's almost. How can you comprehend what God is? Anyway, but that's basically it. What I thought it was interesting was the idea of musical notes. That we are like a symphony. We are like a musical note. We are like a frequency, and each one of us have, and we're kind of the way they describe, kind of like not a musical note, but kind of a wave, and that's kind of what we really look like. But we do have conscience, obviously. We have absolute total knowledge, and we go through this life, and we keep learning about this, the next life, but I got to tell you, it is it's just going to be one heck of an experience for all of us, one way or another. And I tell people here at the hospital, they're going to a magnificent place. I know where they're going, and so that's the thing that you have to always keep in mind, especially when I see everybody. It's really a test of faith at times. But anyway, I wanted to relate it to you, and musical notes. And people that you think you can't sing, you can sing. You really have got musical talent in the next life. But anyway, go ahead, let me end it here, and I appreciate your time as always. Until the next video, and thanks for your time. I appreciate watching it. Thanks again.